So today is a deepening of that gratitude as we reflect, and also practically. So it's on the one hand, looking closely into the graces we've received, our personal experience and communal experience, and also taking up that call, hopefully, to become a facilitator more fully. So we want to look at that. What have we received? And be led through our consolation concretely. And so what will that mean for us? Working together in our local regions and also within JCAP. So considering who we are and how we serve from these different perspectives of very local ministry, some working individually, some in teams, but then that flow into the wider context of our service. So of course, as part of that, we want to touch on what support will be helpful. What do we need, and how can we support one another very practically beyond this time? So morning prayer has opened the door and starts to till the soil in us of our graces. And we would like to just go further with that now, to have an examine on our time together. So Ed will bring us into that.
Okay. So this will be a time for us to just do a little prayerful consideration of our last days. It might be that you want to take a little note as something surfaces for you. We'll be gathering this together to have sort of a group process. But let's just first cast our minds back over these last days. Do you recall that first evening when we came together? And we did something like a speed dating exercise as we went around, introduced ourselves, commonalities, differences. Got a little introduction to the week, and concluding with the dragon dance. And then that first day, Sally and me sort of introducing with that video with Father General. That process of just beginning to unpack what it is to be a facilitator. And those first times of you gathering as small groups, of getting to know one another. Our masses together. Each morning having the morning prayer. And so when we moved into day 2 with JP and Ian, getting more specific into the dynamics of being a facilitator. And day 3, where it's getting really into the specifics. And you as triads, working out those worksheets. Into yesterday when we heard Sally and Ian addressing those different elements and putting it in the context of working beyond Catholics and Christians. To today. And so you might consider the places that you were downcast over this last few days. Might have been because of an absence, of you feeling something left undone at home, something you were missing. Or it might have been a hunger that wasn't met here. A desire for you to go in a different direction. a disappointment?
I suppose the struggle, might not be a desolation, but where's been the struggle? Has there been any struggle for me, or wrestling, or resistance? What have I noticed in myself? Working with others.
Could be a sense of frustration, a feeling unfulfilled, doubting, questioning, is this right? Is this for me?
Sustaining the energy over these long days as well. Yeah. What would anything there you notice?
Might just be your energy levels that were going up and down, and where you found those places of being depleted. Now let's turn our attention to the places where you were uplifted. In the course of these days, when did you have the experience of God being present to you? Where do you know you were touched? That you felt that sense of being in the right place at the right time, a sense of fulfillment.
Has God surprised you at all this week? Did you notice your heart burning? The quality of presence of God, of the Spirit, of Jesus. Did I notice any increase of hope, increase of love, of joy? Of faith. So we've put around some post-its because we thought it really important to harvest or name together the graces we have received, our consolations. And so on your table, the yellow and green ones, please be extravagant. And on each post-it, write something you would identify as a consolation. Okay? So each one, take and write something. And then the contrary, any desolations or fears, the contrary experience, so that we can catch those and ponder them and relish. So just to take a minute or two to individually, just quietly. So write one per post-it. And if you need more post-its, I've still got a few more.
Is there a limit on how many post-its they can have?
No. So you can have more than one each. Take many. Do you know what I mean? Just one per. One consolation, one post-it. Another consolation, another one. Okay? You don't have to write it all on one. One per insight, per awareness. And feel free to go into little things, maybe enjoyment at mealtime or conversation or the garden. Just how has God been working for us in all these different ways that you have noticed or felt you've gained, or what gift has come for you? Gift of Ignatius, gift for Ignatius, through him for us. What have I perceived and received? And when you feel ready, please come and post up your post-its. And we want to just gather them, desolations, consolations. It's a bit squeezy over here, but to take some time to put up yours and and see what else comes. So, yeah, thank you. To have a read of what arrives and what is shared from the group. So just as you're ready to come up, and then you might come again in a bit when there are a few more there to read what is there.
For our next step, as you see things that are related, maybe make clusters. So rearrange these Post-its. Put the things that are similar together so we get that sense of a movement. We'd now like to invite you into a little table conversation. So you can do it in threes or twos, as we did last evening. And it's just for you to have a conversation about what strikes you, about the consolations, the desolations. Which ones are the ones you resonate with? Where do you feel the energy, either dropping or you have that sense of grace? So let's take 10 minutes just to process what you're seeing, what you're experiencing. We're going to take these Post-its and we're going to bring them into liturgy. So they're going to be part of our prayer later this morning. And so from our Ignatian tradition, we know that this is the place which is not ready for action. This, however, is where the invitation, the call is going to be. So there's where we really focus in. How is the Spirit calling us? So really that's where we want to be going with this, is our focus.
Thank you. So what we thought we'd do next, in the next sort of chunk of time before morning tea and then between that break and Mass, is ask you to go back into the same groups as yesterday, the sort of language, regional groups that you were in yesterday. And we just identified these 5 points, which are on a document in the drive, so they're there available to you. So as Ed's saying, of course, we want to move from take our steps led by the consolation that we have received from God. So to ponder that individually, communally, and ask, do you have a dream? Any wild dreaming in the room as well? So to be, listening closely and staying with what's been given, and then, is there a dream? And then, so that's individually, and then your ministry level, many different ministries are in the room, engaged through you. So at the level of your ministry, to what are you called? With whom will you work? Who are your partners? So to ponder that concretely. And then to bring that sense of self, ministry, province or region, our greater belonging in that sense. How will we work with the priorities named in our provinces, in our regions? How will this align and connect? So to ponder that together. And then how do you see yourself collaborating with JCAP, with the ISN, the Ignatian Spirituality Network, which our sense is this ISN can hold the DIC and be an enabler and connecting body. So how do you imagine that connection and collaboration yourself? Do you sense any call to join a bigger, the context of the region to develop and offer DIC, as we've been doing this week? We need help. How can we do this together practically? And so, of course, the last point, what support will you need? So this is the next step then, to go into the groups and talk together and think about how you're going to respond to the points on that template. Complete it. And so there's a lot of time, and you might not need all the time until Mass. But then please, when we conclude before Mass, if you can post your template on the drive. And after lunch, we just take presentations from each group simply to what you've agreed on.
If you want to take this and make it into a set of PowerPoint slides, that's fine. You can just connect it. But do have the verbiage in the drive. So we're saving things, so we've got those together. You might think in terms of having something for a provincial or a regional superior when you go back. So, for the Chinese province, you've got different regions. So each region might have its own planning process. But how does that come together is a province kind of directive. And then how might this be something that is going to be coordinated with JCAP? So are there resources from JCAP that can be useful to you? Can ISN be participating? Or do you see yourself giving something back? I'd also encourage you to think in terms of creativity. That what we might do in English here could look different when you're doing it in your language for your culture. So please have a sense of you're adapting. You're making it accessible for your clientele, your populations. So creativity is welcome. As you're developing materials, it'd be really great if you shared them. So ISN has a part of the JCAP website where we are going to be sharing. And Canisius Publishing has given us the use of 2 of its employees to be posting things, taking care of that section of the website. So you don't have to do anything but provide the material and it will be curated. So as we're translating, to have things that are going to move beyond your province, because with all of the movement of peoples, there are communities all across the globe speaking these different languages. It'd be great if we're providing resources for them. So please share.
I'm just going to show you this. I'm sure you're familiar with this website, and there's so much here. So Ignite the Way, and we feature on it. Upcoming formation events, here we are. But Ignite the Way Resources Library is significantly large. So if I just go videos, hopefully I'm going to go to the right place. Okay, so these videos are taken from the Salamanca experience, and we have drawn on them in what we've offered you. So for example, if you go Experts Colloquium, and there's access here, and then it brings up all the YouTubes. So this is where we've had our James Hanvey Emmaus, because he gave many little inputs along the way. So there are plenty there in that example, Christina Kang, okay, and others. So there's lots to explore here, as well as other articles and all the rest. So this is a huge resources bank in itself. But I think our task is not to kind of get too overwhelmed either, is it? It's like, what can we do going forward now to support you and one another? So you've given us a lot of information around support and needs. I don't know what more we want to say about support. We want to support one another, yes. And we've made a date to catch up as a team in a couple of weeks and just take stock. And we've got our Google Drive, which we will, which is a good starting point for us, isn't it? Ed?
So you can keep the conversation going with us. So, you've got email addresses. If there are things that are surfacing in your area that you would like help with, recommendations, suggestions, materials, we're happy to be in conversation with you. One of the things we were talking about earlier was supervision process, and certainly there was one group that was looking to be doing more with supervision. So we would encourage you to find ways. You don't have to do something that's clinical or, it's really just forming community that's going to support you. So small communities that help one another in growth, processing with one another, and really at base, you've got prayer partners. So we keep looking back on our experience of prayer and how important that is. So to be doing communal prayer together, I think that is one of those essential things.